BYOT. Bring your own tacos.
Dick swinging.
You're listening to American Slacker Podcast.
We can say fuck.
With Matthew Gertz and Jesse Landers.
I don't care, I've been smoking, this is cool.
That's a decent amount of sausage.
This man needs a doctor!
Yeah, I just hope they're tasty.
What's up with these clowns, man?
Cut the lights and went through people's pockets.
Don't you point that at each other.
Let them smoke a little. You need to step it up to that point. We're not gonna lead with the.
We're not gonna lead with that.
So what have we learned on Instagram? I think so far on Instagram Live, we kind of learned a little bit about how people watch on Wednesdays and Saturdays is a night for going out.
Yeah, I would say so. It wasn't as fruitful, I would say. We didn't get as much of a turnout.
No one wants our free coffee gift cards.
I don't know why. We're trying to give them away. We're trying to have you have a coffee on us. No strings attached. All you gotta do is play a little game with us. We just want to play a game with people.
We've given away 2 so far, which has worked out nicely. Yeah. But this Saturday, when we are doing this recording, we are live on Instagram. We're trying to do that from now on whenever we record an episode. We want to kind of show you guys the behind the scenes if you're actually interested, in how the show is put together. And we can interact with you, which is nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. We always take an hour before every recording to really, well, most recordings anyway, to interact with everybody that listens to the show, or maybe people that are just learning about us. And, we tend to give away a gift card every time just to make it a little more fun. Keep an eye out. I mean, I think we're doing next Saturday too, right?
Yeah, it sounds like next Saturday is the plan based on our current
next Saturday,
schedules.
If you're listening on release day. And if not, usually I think we're going to keep to Wednesdays until further notice.
Those are our preferred recording days. That's the perfect ones.
Yeah. Unless we really get into the episode, it might get pushed to Thursday, but we're gonna try to avoid that.
Depending how many video games release that month.
Oh man, if something like Pub or
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, I don't know.
So yeah, stay tuned and make sure to check us out live.
Hell yeah, check us out live, and welcome to American Slacker Podcast. As always, I'm Matt.
And I'm Jesse. Live, full digital, 1080i.
I don't know, are you? I mean, we're not really
so.
Projecting 1080i.
I'm on an iPad, so I don't know if that's accurate.
I don't think that's accurate, but we won't hold them to it. We'll just continue on with the HD quality in vocal, no matter.
You know who I will hold a special place in my heart for? Our Patreon supporters.
Hell yeah, because they're fucking awesome.
Yeah, and starting out, we want to give a shout out to Dave Gunn. Thank you so much, sir. You are
hell yeah, dude.
A big part of what American Slacker is, and we appreciate your support.
Yeah, you are American Slacker at heart, and we really appreciate what you do.
Next up, Kyle Nolan Bradford from the Crime Roulette podcast. A solid subscribe on these guys. I'm listening to them every week. It's a crime-based podcast, and if you're not there for the crime, you're there for the personalities.
Fuck yeah, I've got to say these guys are fucking awesome. Check them out, because they're fucking awesome, and I'm a little jealous.
We also have another amazing podcast run by Aaron W., and that's the Yes and I Am podcast. Aaron's really cool.
Another awesome one.
He was actually one of the recipients of our free coffee. I think he was the first one.
He was, and he was kind enough to send us a photo of him enjoying it, which you can check out on our Instagram. And we're glad that you won. Out of all people, you were a contributor and an awesome dude. And we love your podcast.
They're a great Patreon slacker, as all of the people we mentioned are. Now we have our pod shout-out pick of the week. And the way that this works is anyone who retweets our pin tweet, which is our latest episode, gets an entry into possibly getting the shout-out of the week. And this time, we have 20 retweets to pick from. So I got Twitter here, and Matt gets to blindly choose a number 1 through 20.
Is it smug to be upset that we have less than last week?
Well, it's 20. If it's any consolation, then we have 21, but one of them's me.
Wait, what? You retweeted?
Yeah.
We'll get into this later.
Account, @LandersThePlane on Twitter.
So wait, you got to disqualify that. I'm not picking you. First off.
I said that's why I said
All
1
right.
through 20 instead of 1 through 21.
I'm trying to pick a number I haven't picked, so I'm going to go with 14. I know that's a number that I have not picked previously on the show. It's a bit in, but not too soon, not too late. I feel like it's a good one. Who do we have, Jesse?
We have someone that you may have heard from on our podcast before. It is the False Starts podcast.
Awesome.
We do
Nice.
a promo swap with them, so sometimes you might hear their promo on our episode. I don't think they're in this episode, but
They're not. They're
Maybe
not in
they're-
this episode,
they're
but
getting
you've
this one
definitely
anyway.
heard them.
They're getting the shout out. They called us their side chick.
Yeah, I've got to say, I really enjoyed that. I instantly messaged Jesse, and I was like, we ain't no side check, but I loved it. I loved it.
They're at False Starts Pod on Twitter. They are a podcast about the presumptuous pictures and foolhardy films the studio thought would get a sequel, but never did. They're actually a podcast out of England. So that's at False Starts Pod on Twitter. Congrats, guys. You'll be on our next pinned tweet.
Fuck yeah. You guys deserve it. We love you guys.
So, Matt, what do we have coming up in the show?
As always, we've got bizarre news to start us out. And if you want to see a cool cheat to beating having to pay for an extra carry-on when you're traveling, stick around because you're going to find out. But then we're moving along. We got some movie suggestions, some really cool ones. This is a survival-themed fucking show, people. Get ready. These movies are intense, and they put people in situations where they just gotta claw their way out of. Keeping with that, our next segment is a new segment. What we have is called This or That.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a new segment that we came up with, and we're excited.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, stick around to see what we're talking about.
And to start off with weird news, we always like to go over a little bit of weed news. And this time, we're talking about San Francisco, just north of me, where they're planning on wiping out thousands of marijuana convictions.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's something that Cory Booker, someone we talk about often on the show, has argued that should be done federally across the entire United States. But San Francisco's district attorney said his office will toss out or reduce thousands of criminal convictions for marijuana dating back decades, which is allowed under the 2016 ballot measure legalizing recreational use in California. So it was part of that initiative.
Okay.
And it passed, and it's going to take a lot of time because they have to go through a lot of records. But ultimately,
Yeah, I would assume.
this is a really good thing because this is going to free people up for, possible loans, getting jobs, depending on what kind of convictions they had. They said they're going to be dismissing nearly 3,000 misdemeanor cases and they review nearly 5,000 felony cases for possible action.
Now, is it expunging like past records too?
Yep, it's going back decades.
That's where it matters too, because I'm sure there's some people in there that are still locked up for small things that really were pretty harsh judgments that were bestowed upon them.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, maybe people still incarcerated.
There was a lot of 3-strike rules and stuff like that during the Clinton era.
really fucked
also,
up.
there was a lot of crackdown on crime, especially drug crime.
Yeah.
So this will be good. It'll free people up to possibly, get jobs. I'm not sure what the impact with federal, like student loans and stuff like that would be, because I know if you're convicted of a drug crime that you can't get student loans. So I don't know how that's going to really work since it's still federally illegal. But at least on a state level, they won't be looking at these people as it'd be more like if you got a traffic ticket compared to and it could be completely thrown out on top of that, so it's even better.
Yeah, true.
If you want to read more about what San Francisco plans to do with the marijuana convictions, you can read this on our Facebook page where we post our marijuana news articles every Monday. So make sure to go over to our Facebook and check that out.
Well, our next story can't help but bring me back to our youth, where, I know myself and you, we both, we learned how to drive a stick off the bat. Right off the bat.
I kind of had to. It was the only one available to me at the time.
That could provide to be so useful in so many instances. And one that you most likely wouldn't even think of, including, say you wanted to rob a pharmacy, if you happen to be in the mood to,
Well, getaway drivers action.
Well, I guess, nowadays it's not as common to learn like we did on a stick, because what we have in Las Cruces, New Mexico, is that a culprit failed to be able to drive a vehicle that he tried to jack because it was a manual stick shift, and he forced the owner to drive him a couple blocks away to a location, like a normal house.
Okay.
Well, the worst part about this is that the house that he had him drop him off at was the house that he actually stayed at. And the cops showed up after the owner called 911, and they picked up this asshole.
Well, at least it didn't end with, like, if this guy was smart, he would have, like, done something bad to the guy, like, made the guy drive him somewhere else, and then, I guess he couldn't take the car. Yeah, he would have been screwed either way. He would have been walking if, even if he tried to, like, make the guy abandon him somewhere else.
I mean, we have no mention if he was wearing any kind of, like, disguise, like a mask or anything, but, like, still, you could have got dropped off a block away or a couple blocks away, something, like, anyway, like...
Take a different route and, like, kind of zigzag back. I'm glad that the guy who was, like, gonna be carjacked and ended up being the stick-up getaway driver wasn't harmed at all. But this was a dumb move by this kid.
One of the dumbest moves. I mean, if you don't know how to drive stick, you gotta anticipate, like, there might be a car out there that you're trying to carjack after a intense robbery that might not be an automatic.
It doesn't sound like it was planned very well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it was just like a passion crime almost. He was just like, I need money. Bah!
Yeah, I was gonna say, not a very knowledgeable criminal.
It's unfortunate, but, goes out to say, learn how to drive stick, people. I mean, I did, you did.
It's handy.
Fun.
It's handy to know. It's like making a fire or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what? What's also unfortunate?
What's unfortunate?
The 90,000 pounds of beads found in New Orleans storm drains after Mardi Gras.
Ah, that is unfortunate. Those were hard-earned beads.
Well, I'm thinking more for the environment. But,
oh, yeah.
Because
well, I'm thinking about what those beads
ditched.
brought.
It's a very odd custom. If people aren't aware, if you
it is.
flash in Louisiana during Mardi Gras, they'll throw you some beads. And
my God.
What happens
How many
to
tons?
all these beads? 90,000. 90,000 pounds.
Could you imagine how many... I don't know what to put here that's not highly inappropriate.
Breasts?
Earned those. I guess, yeah. How many breasts?
It's probably a polite way.
That many tons of... Yeah, that's appropriate. I didn't want to offend.
And this 90,000 pounds of beads was only pulled from about 5 blocks of downtown New Orleans. So this isn't even
5 blocks, that's it?
This isn't even all of it.
That's crazy.
They try to put like catch basins in there to get some of the beads before they fall through, but some still make it. And they also set up some stations from that the Department of Public Works put up where you can turn in your beads, and they'll recycle it all and send it away.
Okay, to be made into some kind of like life product
or something. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. They sent them to probably a recycling center or something. But most of these beads end up clogging the drains of the city of New Orleans.
That's crazy to think. I mean, all those beads have to go somewhere. Who would have thought they go down the fucking sewer drains?
Right,
and clog that shit up.
It rains a decent amount down there.
Yeah.
So
and imagine like what a fucking ton of those beads, they're like fucking perfect to fill a gap.
All the garbage, beads. I mean, I guess if you clean the streets in the first place or don't like throw the beads on the ground in the first place, that's what they're really asking people is like, don't contribute to the problem in the first place and we won't like have 90,000 pounds of beads chilling in our storm drains.
Yeah. Yeah, find another way to appreciate boobies. That's all I gotta say.
Or just keep your beads, or turn them in, Just don't litter. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I guess that's the more appropriate way of looking at it. It's just, keep your beads till the end of the night and find an appropriate recycling center to hand those beads.
Just chuck them in the trash.
Yeah. Something. I don't know.
I'm sure a lot of them are from, people tossing them from balconies and they're hitting the ground.
Oh, so the
remnants
didn't receive the gift.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
The leftover beads that they didn't quite catch.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because people start fighting between the beads, and then they get broken, and they're all on the ground.
Everywhere. Yeah, I mean, even like in other cities, you know, you find like those beads everywhere, like Las Vegas and shit. Those are party beads.
Yep. Fighting over plastic.
That's not the only violent scene we got in this news stories today. In France, we have quite the violence caused from a sale on Nutella, which, out of all things, I wouldn't have expected such an uproar. But it's gotten crazy.
It's like a brawl over peanut butter.
Man, fucking A, man. People want to get that Nutella, that hazelnut chocolate mix, and I've got to say, I'm not a fan. You know, I've talked to you about this pre-show.
It's okay.
I'm not a fan.
It's alright, I don't mind it. Like, there's people who love it.
I gotta pick it up. I feel like I gotta try it again. We'll see. I'll do an update on that. But Intermarché supermarkets in France offered a 70% discount on Nutella, which was like bringing the price down. It's so significantly. So people that are, you know, huge into this, which I've got to say, I know more people that are into Nutella than not, for sure.
Right, it's kind of a fad thing, too, I feel
It is. I could see people stocking up on it because it's something that probably lasts a long time, too. I can only imagine what the shelf life is on it. So, when it's 70%, you're stocked up for 2 years, 3 years, whatever. People are fucking fighting. We have video footage posted on Twitter from different users. It's insane. And, apparently... It's insane. 365 million kilos of Nutella is consumed every year in 160 different countries around the world.
Yeah, it's big all over the place. It's like here in America, France, you said it's huge. Germany, it's huge. Italy, it's
Germany's
huge.
the number one consumer of it, actually. And I didn't even know this, but Nutella production uses 25% of the global hazelnut supply. A quarter of the hazelnuts in the world go to Nutella.
So we're left, the rest of us plebeians are left with 3/4 of the world's hazelnuts.
Yeah, and I like how you said it before, that's no wonder why they're fucking so expensive.
Yeah, they're jacking up the price on it. You're
They're
immediately
fucking...
like limiting the supply to make your fucking mushed chocolate like mash spread. We're gonna get crucified for not loving Nutella. That's what's gonna happen after this is released. They're gonna come with torches for us.
Yeah, I mean, we only have one host somewhat likes it.
It's like,
I don't know,
okay.
that's not good.
It's a very black and white, like love and war society when it comes to Nutella.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's definitely, you know, like I never had it as a kid. And I tried it, you know, once or twice.
It's expensive,
you know.
So I could understand why, like, a 70% off sale, why that would make people go nuts and like start brawling. People love their food.
Stock up, hell yeah. Fucking risk getting fucking in some deep trouble over it.
Punch man over a corn dog.
Oh my god, fuck no.
The man in our next story actually screamed, "I'll go to jail over some barbecue sauce."
Oh fuck. Barbecue sauce is good, I'll say.
It definitely is. And I'll tell you, I love barbecue sauce with so many things, especially like chicken nuggets, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Especially, and barbecue sauce, I'll put it on a burger sometimes. Hell, I'll put barbecue sauce on a hot dog.
Dude, I put it on mac and cheese. What's up with that?
Oh.
It's so fucking good. Try it. I'm not kidding. If anybody out there listening tries it, a little barbecue sauce mixed in with your mac and cheese, you gotta find the right amount for you. But it is delicious.
That sounds good, because I like ketchup in the mac and cheese, so I could...
That's good, too.
I could dig some
like
barbecue
that.
sauce. Well,
Yeah.
at this Macon, Georgia Waffle House... Okay, so it's not a Waffle House. Like, when I first read this, I thought, oh, Waffle House, like the actual incorporated Waffle House. This
Which
is
we're talking about.
another type of Waffle House called the Riverside Drive Diner, which primarily serves waffles.
Okay.
So it's not a Waffle House incorporated TM
per se
registered.
Yeah. But they're mainly famous for their nice waffles.
Yep. So the man sits down
nice
at a
diner.
stool at this local Waffle House, as I'll call it, and he ordered his food. The three women who worked there said that he asked for some barbecue sauce. One of the women, whose name was Basil, she's named after her spices. The other one, cayenne and fucking paprika.
Fuck. Where's Sage? She's the wise one.
Basil's like, no, we don't have any barbecue sauce. He then started screaming obscenities and insulting the staff. And he was trying to create a conflict, saying things such as, I wouldn't fucking ask you if I didn't know you had it.
Okay, he's laying down the law.
And then he also said, I'll go to fucking jail over some barbecue sauce.
Oh shit! So he's saying like he will go to jail over eating any food without his barbecue sauce.
Oh yeah,
he's a man that's really stern on his sauces.
Yeah, he's got, you know, and it confirms to me Americans love sauces. Fucking hit them with sauces. You give them fucking 8 kinds of sauces with 1 piece of chicken, and like they'll be in heaven. It doesn't matter,
dude. You will rip that chicken into fucking 1,000 pieces to sample all the sauces.
Oh, let me get at that.
Oh my god.
So
I've got to say, I'm a fool for sauce. Sweet and sour's got my heart.
Can you? Oh yeah, I'm down with some sweet and sour. I like barbecue. I ate buffalo with some chicken tenders the other day.
Oh my god. Oh fuck yeah.
Preach.
A little spice is never wrong.
So, can you guess what happened after he screamed, I'll go to fucking jail over some barbecue sauce?
They called the cops to bring him to jail?
Yeah, he went to jail over some fucking barbecue sauce.
Oh, man. I don't care what kind of barbecue sauce. I don't care if barbecue sauce is aged in barrels like fucking fine liquor and wine.
Like a whiskey cask.
Fuck you. It's not worth going to jail. Go home and fucking get some Bullseye or some fucking other brand fucking barbecue. Like, fuck.
Right? So, he was held in lieu of a $390 bond, and the restaurant was quoted saying, we stay with the basics on condiments. Mustard, ketchup, and mayo. They don't fuck with that barbecue sauce shit. That gets you crazy people. Like this guy.
Really, dude? Barbecue is what's up, though.
Like, they're an all-American diner.
You could be talking about a lot of flavors when you're talking about barbecue. You could be talking about honey barbecue. You could be talking about like
smoky,
a spicy barbecue.
Spicy.
Smoky. Chipotle. Like, dude, I won't keep going on because this will get boring, but Jesus.
Matt's going to start a barbecue sauce house. It's going to be a business that only sells barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauces.
I can be passionate about that. I'm not lying.
Good.
I like barbecue.
Do a horseradish barbecue sauce? See, this is what happens when we podcast hungry. We can't talk about this kind of shit.
Exactly. We come up with ingenious sauces like horseradish fucking barbecue. Don't fucking steal that. We're trademarking it before the end of this episode. Well, if you find yourself in jail like the last guy and you're wanting this barbecue sauce, you know, it might not be so hard to get anything that you want, any type of sauce inside of the jail. Because this story coming from Texas, one of the harshest states, really inspires me that I just think you can get anything you want in jail these days.
You got Amazon?
Oh, yeah, exactly. It might as well be Amazon. Because what we have is another story, just like we featured in February of last year, about an inmate that escaped just to bring back a whole ton of goods right to his crew inside of jail. Or maybe himself. I don't know. I don't have that much info on it. But basically, what this inmate in Texas did is he snuck in a whole shit ton of liquor, including Crown Royal and Martelli, tobacco. He had home cooked goods.
Oh shit! Something from Mama?
Dude, he had all kinds of good shit, man. He smuggled this back in, and apparently this has been going on for a long time. And they set up like a sting operation to watch this fool.
Okay.
And they watched him leave, cut through the fence in the rear of the prison, and grab a large duffel bag, which he brought back inside. And then they tossed his cell and found all this shit. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
I like the idea that they just watched him grab it and bring it back in, and then they're like, alright, let's go look.
Dude, it's like the last story where they stashed it in a car right along the prison like fence.
Yep.
You know, so the guys would like crawl and like go under a fence, grab the shit.
Grab it, haul it
Dude,
back
he
in.
had giant bottles of liquor.
Living like a king.
Like little pouches of bugler tobacco, like a bunch of those. And I didn't see the food. I didn't get to see like, you know, what kind of home cooked food he had. But I can only
it was
imagine
like cookies with a note from Mom saying like, don't eat them all at once.
Don't eat all these at once.
Share it with your friends, your cellmates.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's pretty sad this guy didn't get to enjoy mom's cookies.
Or the Crown Royale he was sneaking into the jail.
Yeah, man. Oh, sad.
So can you have tobacco in the jail? Is that contraband technically, or just because he snuck it in, it's contraband?
It depends on what jail it is.
Okay.
I'm sure this jail was a non-smoking
Doesn't allow
jail, so he was smuggling, he was smuggling in this tobacco.
That'd be tough to even like.
Otherwise,
use.
like the tobacco he had was Bugler, which would probably be something you can access through prisoner commissary.
Okay.
The normal ordering menu.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it was a smoke-free jail, which they in the rec areas, like the outside areas, they'll smoke tobacco or weed or whatever they got.
Okay. That makes sense. I find their ways of smuggling this stuff in quite inventive.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Sometimes they come up with some crazy ways to pack this shit and get it in, I mean, regardless if they sneak out and get it in or if they're, like, having a visitor, smuggle it in on their clothing or whatnot. Do some crazy, type of thing like that.
Definitely. And that kind of leads into our next story where a passenger was doing a little bit of unpacking of his own, and he decided to throw on 10 layers of clothing to avoid a luggage fee from the airlines he was flying.
Dude, I could relate. Sometimes those luggage fees will get you, like, fuck, you want to bring all your enough clothing, but you don't want to pay that fucking $35, $45, whatever dollar fee it is.
Yep. I try and pack light whenever I can, but this guy was traveling from Iceland to London on British Airways, and he was wearing 8 pairs of pants and 10 shirts to avoid paying the excess luggage.
Can you imagine how that feels to wear that many pairs of pants?
It's, you probably walking like, what's her name?
Waddling. You don't walk.
From Willy Wonka. It's like Violet, you're turning Violet.
Oh, the blueberry. Oh, yeah, the blueberry girl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, he couldn't have been comfortable, and they didn't let him fly. He got barred from 2 different flights because they were like, no, you're being... It was more, I guess, the way that he acted when they said that you can't do that.
Yeah,
no, security.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, from the video that I observed, I quickly looked at this, a week ago or so, and he did look a little smug about it, like, they're not letting me on, look at me, like, I'm trying to avoid, like, he was clearly, like, proving that he was trying to avoid it.
He also said that he claimed, like, racial profiling, and then British Airways said something back saying, it has nothing to do with race, it's just the fact. Like, I think it was just his behavior, kind of, as he was told that he can't wear a massive amount of clothes through the security, because that's also kind of a security issue, in a way.
Well, that and a safety issue, because imagine if, God forbid, the plane had to be evacuated. That fucking guy that's slow and sluggish in front of you, you gotta be fucking jumping over him, because he's fucking, like, just a fucking giant gingerbread man wiggling his way out of the fucking plane, I could see having to wear, like, a couple more layers than you should, but, like, when you get into, like, fucking 10 layers, you're cutting it fucking
you're
pretty
trying
close.
to game the system, and I see why they didn't let him on. He eventually got home, but he was not
That's
happy
good.
Without missing.
Nobody wants to be stranded. I'm glad he got home. Yeah.
Another person that took a flight is the guy in our funny clip of the week. We're calling this one Swing Launch. Now, Matt, on the playground as a kid, did you ever want to, go over the top bar on the swings?
I did, man, but I never went to infinity and beyond, like the title of this clip here. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it doesn't look like it's a good thing.
This is a grown man with a bunch of other grown men and women while watching and standing around while he's flinging himself over the top bar while standing on the swings. It's like one of those seated swings, it looks like.
I've never, encountered one of these. That sounds so weird to say, as, like, childhood. I never encountered one of these through my childhood, but I can only imagine they are a little more,
it's weird
to get hurt, per se.
It's weird that it's not chains. It's like bars supporting the,
It is a solid bar.
The swing.
So there's no slink.
That's what allows for that spin around. that this guy gets, but it doesn't end well
Yeah.
for him. It ends exactly as you'd expect.
What I want to know is, say you're a parent, say you're a recreational person that works in the town. Why the fuck would you ever put a swing less than 10 feet away from a fucking fence?
Yeah, that's a good point. Even if he wasn't acting a fool on it, it could end up having a kid fly off of it.
Yeah, and that's what my biggest worry is not an adult, it's a kid.
This guy ragdolls so bad when he hits the fence, though.
Oh man, that poor guy, he hits full on his neck, which is never good.
And we don't know what happened after that, because it, of course, goes straight to the ground after he hits the fence. So you'll have to wonder with us and watch this on our Facebook page when we post it on Wednesday, as we do with our funny clips.
Now, we're about to get to some awesome movies, but before we do that, let's hear from a fellow podcaster.
Hi, I'm Mike from the Genuine Chit Chat podcast, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. I speak to a wide variety of guests, from travellers to musicians to those afflicted with mental or physical illnesses. There's really no subject that's off limits, from movies to politics and even controversial topics ranging from sex to drug reform and political correctness. So if you still believe in the art of conversation, are intrigued by healthy debates with different ideas and perspectives you may not have thought of, and want a podcast where every episode is about something different with a variety of guests, then this may be the podcast for you. You can hear us on YouTube and all your favourite podcast apps, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to hang out and listen to honest conversations with interesting people, then come to Genuine Chit Chat, where I'm your host, Mike Burton.
You get more out of life when you go out to a movie.
And we're back. We got some movie suggestions for you, for your eyeballs.
Hell yeah,
This
survival
is gonna be
themed.
Survivor. Yeah, this is all about survival.
Wait, not Survivor. You're not going to get voted off the island or anything.
No. This is about the man's will to live.
Hell
and,
yeah.
and woman's
What you
will
gotta
to
do.
live in one of our suggestions. We're starting out with my choice, which is called Man Versus. Man Versus what, you may ask? Well, you'll find out if you watch. It was a movie made in 2015. It stars Chris Diamantopoulos. Hey, I got that name. I thought I was gonna fuck it up, but you've seen him in tons of stuff. In this, he plays a man called Doug Woods, who's a lot like Bear Grylls and Les Stroud. If you're familiar with Survivor Man or Man vs. Wild, wasn't that Bear Grylls' show, I believe?
Yes.
In this movie, he plays someone similar who's, going out on their own, and it's just him with a bunch of cameras, and he's out in the wilderness. And if you didn't think wolves and bears were enough to worry about, what about a creature from another planet?
That is fucking horrible, especially when he's out surviving as is.
As if you're all alone in the wilderness and you encounter
Man.
something that no one's ever encountered before. It was pretty terrifying at some parts, and it's funny because he's doing the whole like camper survivor thing, and he's doing it for the camera, so showing people how to set up like deadfall traps and stuff like that. But then whatever this thing is that's hunting him is using what he's teaching against him and creates like larger deadfall traps that would crush a person,
Yeah, it mimics what he's doing.
Exactly, and so he knows that it's watching him, and he also likes to, since he's out in the wilderness and solitude, he'll play chess against himself, and you notice that pieces start moving when he leaves his camp.
That was really freaky.
Which I thought was kind of a big metaphor for what was going on between him and the creature.
Yeah, I felt like he was one step ahead.
It was really
crazy.
creepy. It was a very, very creepy movie. It got a pretty low rating on IMDb. It got a 5.5 out of 10. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it was even worse. I don't think it had a tomato meter rating, and the audience score was 21%. So people didn't like it. I thought it was pretty good for like an indie type of movie.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
It pretty much looks like it was shot just in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, very little CGI.
They do some like GoPro stuff as well to make it sort of like a found footage kind of feel to the movie. But I don't know. I thought it wasn't bad. Once you finally see the thing that's stalking him, I'll admit that the graphics are a little underwhelming. We had mentioned Signs before, which kind of it gave me that feel, like the creature, the aliens from Signs.
Yeah, they did a very good job of showing minimal of the creature, but they wanted to show you that, you know, what the creature looked like, because you don't want to end the film not knowing what was coming after that guy.
Right.
So you know, they did what they could. I thought it was good. I liked it.
And there's a twist at the end, so like, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't something that I was necessarily expecting to happen throughout the film.
Yeah,
so,
me neither.
I was happy with it, and since we picked Survivor themed, I watched a couple of them, and I thought this was a good pick. So check out Man vs. It's on Amazon Prime for $4 if you want to watch that, or it's also on Netflix for free if you're already subscribed to Netflix.
The film I chose is also on Netflix. Keeping up with the survival element, I chose 47 Meters Down. And it's a crazy shark film. And I thought they did it really well. It wasn't, you know... The CGI in a lot of shark films can go haywire. And I'm a big critic on CGI. I don't want to see CGI if you can't pull it off. And I thought they did very well at portraying the sharks in this. Like I was worried coming into this that I was going to see some Deep Blue Sea type shit. You know, that film with Ice Cube. That always brings to mind when I
thought that was Samuel Jackson. Are they both in it?
They're both in it, yeah. Ice Cube's the cook.
I just remember a shark eats Samuel L. Jackson.
He's given one of his Samuel L. Jackson speeches, like above like one of those like waterways, you know, like a little port that goes down into the ocean.
Yep.
In like a bunker, and then a fucking shark just lunges up and eats it. I love that film. But yeah, 47 Meters Down is a survival horror film about two ladies that decide to go on vacation after one of them has a terrible breakup with her boyfriend. So they go to Mexico to have a getaway, and they meet two guys that convince them to go out on a boat and go into a shark tank.
That's just being on a boat with strange men is still a little terrifying.
I was wondering how it was going to go, if the guys were going to fuck with them, or if it was going to be like a horror film, like the guys are the reason they
get in the cage,
meet their demise, you know. But it's a natural event that could happen, and you want to be careful when you're out there doing these extraordinary events.
Risky snorkeling with sharks.
Yeah, and this film, it really plays on the strings of anxiety and whatnot. I really enjoyed how they did this, and how these girls got stuck in the cage and whatnot. I don't want to give away too much, but it's a crazy event that happens where they're stuck in this cage, and I was worried it was going to be kind of boring. You know, I was thinking, you know, ahead of time, like a phone booth type event where it's all shot in one location. But they do a good job of keeping it eventful. Now,
based on the name, I'm assuming the cage sinks.
The cage does sink, and the safety tether, the cable snaps. So they have no way of pulling the girls up, and they get stuck.
And are they on oxygen tanks then, I'm guessing?
They're on limited air, yeah.
Ooh.
Oxygen tanks that are limited, so they're pretty fucked.
You got deep water fear, you have shark fear, you have suffocation fear, and yeah, that just sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It gets crazy at points, and there's an ending that's really appreciative. I don't want to give away too much at the end, but it's not what you think it would happen.
Okay. She was tripping, it never happened, and she's actually Haley Joel Osment, and Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Well, you might be on something with part of that.
Okay. The Bruce Willis part, I'm guessing. So those are two good movies, two good Netflix movies on survival that people should check out.
Hell yeah. I support both of them.
And if you want those again, that's Man vs. and 47 Meters Down.
Hell yeah. Worthy of checking out and easy to stream on Netflix.
And now we're going to take a quick break to hear from another awesome podcast.
Hey, this is AJ.
And this is Ben with Small Town Mentality Podcast.
You can check us out on all social media platforms at Small Town Mentality Podcast. So get on there, click like, and follow us.
And help us out by subscribing to Small Town Mentality Podcast on the places you get your podcasts. Podcasts? What, you don't have a place to check out podcasts? Well, try TuneIn or Stitcher. We're also on iTunes and Google Play.
Come check us out. We're funny. Yeah, a little bit.
I'm funny.
We're going to leave this in.
All right.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So we are back with a brand new segment. This is something that we came up with sort of off the top of our heads. It's called This or That, and this one's Survival Edition.
I'm really intrigued by this idea.
This is sort of just like a mental exercise, I guess, where you're presented with two options, and you got to rationalize one of them. Which are you going for? And maybe it'll let you guys get inside of our heads a little bit more. Not that that's a place you want to stay for too long.
No, you might be careful with that.
So first up, Matt, I got you on the hot seat. Snowy, and this is all based on survival. Snowy mountain or dry desert? Which are you going?
That's really a tough one. I feel like I would have to go. I'd probably go. Man, this is really, I don't know. I feel like I'd have to go Snowy Mountain because logically I can make some type of sheltering, and there's always water available.
Ooh.
With melting.
Very
Water's
true.
the biggest thing with like survival, as far as I'm concerned.
It'd be more the temperature that would be the big thing that you'd be worried about.
Yeah, but I feel like
terms of
even
snow.
with like an igloo, you can like isolate temperature, and you can still like keep your body warm.
You can dig down. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I thought you were gonna go dry desert. That's interesting. I'm with you on the Snowy Mountain for sure, for the same reason.
Nice. I was curious what you were gonna go with. Dry desert, if you know the appropriate ways of extracting water from plants and whatnot.
Cactuses and
I
shit.
really wouldn't remember, so I feel like I'd be more set in Snowy Mountains. Now, what I wanted to start off with was, as far as survival shows go, in relation to the movies we were talking about, Bear Grylls or Les Stroud, two of the guys that are the headliners of survival expertise.
Now
Which one would you choose?
Now this is, I don't know,
That's like your guy.
It's tough because, Bear Grylls is, the big, like, I'm a big movie, TV star, and, like, I got all the Hollywood crew with me and stuff. There's all that controversy that came out about him, like, going to hotels and staying not in the wilderness, which I understand. Like, if you're on a movie location or a TV location shoot, you're going to have to kind of make compromises. Like, do you want to be completely alone like Les Stroud does and shoot it all yourself, and it's not going to have the good shots and stuff like that, and you might not get exactly what you're looking for. But either way, I'm going Les Stroud because I think him doing it on his own way more super impressive compared to Bear Grylls.
I can't help but agree with that. Les Stroud, bringing out the camera gear all on his own with no camera crew is way more impressive than Bear Grylls, who resides at hotels in between shooting, and he kind of just kills animals to eat a part of them, whereas Les Stroud's like fucking starving on day 3.
Yeah, it's way more extreme. I mean, which if you have the knowledge to do that sort of thing, then yeah, totally do it. But Bear Grylls is more like I guess the nerfed version of survival.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about tools. Hunting knife or hatchet? You got to pick one. Which one are you going with?
Now, this was a pretty easy one for me because, a lot of people will get hung up on this, but a hunting knife, and not just any hunting knife. You got to have a decent sized hunting knife that's not too big, not too little. Somewhere like in the 8-inch range is like what I would want. And funny thing is, I got this Gerber knife that's a Bear Grylls edition. It's like my ultimate choice survival knife because Bear Grylls had something to do with Gerber, but coincidentally. But it's
just
a great
like
quality
special
knife.
edition.
Yeah, it's waterproof, like gripping and everything, so it's not going to rot away on you like a leather case or a wood case.
So you're going knife.
Wood grip.
Knife over hatchet.
The reason a knife is better than a hatchet is because a knife can create a hatchet. You can't really create a knife with a hatchet.
Okay. I see what you're saying. But
so
I'm going to go hatchet. I'm going to counterpoint you and say hatchet.
Why are you going to go hatchet?
I feel like hatchet, it could be used as a thrown weapon if you know how to throw the weapon. I mean, you could throw a knife too, but I feel like a hatchet has more weight to it, and I would have an easier time throwing a hatchet. You can also use it to split wood to keep your fire going. Mm-hmm. You can use it to help build the construction of your lean-to or whatever it is you might be going with. It's also, I don't know, I just feel more secure with like a hatchet, and the backside works as a hammer if it's flat.
True, but I can guarantee you that I can craft not like a store quality hatchet, but a decent hatchet with a knife and the proper heat treated stick and twine and the proper piece of shale.
True. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have a nice sharp rock and you can get it in between a stick and sort of wrap it back up.
Meanwhile, a knife can be a spear. A knife can be a spear. A knife can be a million things. You know, it can help you out in hunting a million ways.
But I was going to say the one thing that that a hunting knife would have over the hatchet is in terms of, like, say you actually got a deer or, like, a rabbit or something like that. In terms of making precise cuts, it would be a lot harder with a hatchet.
True. Yeah. So, all right, my next question is another tool question. It's a hard one. Water filtration system or a fire starter? What would you rather be stuck with to start out as a survival incident? I'm
going water filtration system. I think that was an easy pick for me, just because I may be feeling too cocky or confident in saying that, like, I'm fairly sure I could start a fire under most conditions.
Fire is definitely something that's feasible. Meanwhile, like, water, you're not guaranteed to be able to, like, actually digest without any type of incident where it's going to make you sick.
Yeah, you might end up poisoning yourself just because you ended up
you're alone
sick.
And you're poisoned for a couple days, you're fucked. You're done.
Yeah.
Without being able to produce food, you're really fucked. You're going to be weak by that third day when you heal.
No, definitely. It'd be bad. It would definitely be bad if you didn't have water to drink. So that's like first concern, and then it's more a matter of priority in the case of those two.
Yeah.
So, another one for you. Lost at sea or taken hostage?
Man, I've got to say, this all depends on the situation. You know, am I lost at sea with a raft or a ship?
When I imagined this or that, I'm thinking like lost at sea is you on a raft, and taken hostage is you with like a couple of armed people that are holding you and maybe some others hostage.
This is a really tough one. I have to say, I feel like I'd choose lost at sea, and I know that's not nearly easy at all compared to taking hostage. But taking hostage, you never know what you're dealing with, because you're obviously dealing with somebody that's off the wall already because they're taking the hostage.
Yeah,
you don't know what they're capable of. You know, but lost at sea, there's a chance of being discovered. I mean, depending upon the incident, maybe I have a survival kit on the raft, maybe.
And I feel like this is a little telling to, like, if you ask this question to someone, you get a hint into their personality as to whether or not they would want to be responsible for themselves in an emergency scenario or have someone else be responsible for them in an emergency scenario.
Exactly, and I don't want anybody choosing what I want in a scenario like this. Like, it's like, I want to be able to calculate what I think is the best option for survival, the best chance.
And not have someone else pulling those strings. That makes sense. I thought that was probably the hardest one I picked there.
Yeah, that's one of the best questions I think we could have ever come up with right there. Bingo. I'm going to end this off with a question about a means of providing an actual meal.
Okay.
What would you rather, trapping or hunting?
If it's just me right now making that decision, I'm going trapping. Just because I feel like I could make a shit ton of like deadfall traps and maybe some fish traps or something and be able to feed myself pretty well. Hunting, I don't know if I have the skills to necessarily do that. I'm pretty loud and doofy. If I tried to sneak up on something, I don't know if I'd have a good chance. And I'm not much of a thrower in terms of my arm. So trapping might be my better bet.
Yeah, definitely another one that I agree with, because meanwhile, trapping is a lot easier. It doesn't require like stealth skill or anything like that. It also doesn't require energy, whereas like hunting, you could spend yourself going crazy, you know, trying to find something to kill. Whereas trapping, you can set up a bunch of traps, deadfalls, you know, crayfish, fish traps, whatever you have. and it's not drawing any energy besides what it takes to create.
True.
And it's reusable too. You know.
Just
That's
set it back up again. If it got knocked down, there's nothing under it.
And go.
There
Hell
you go.
yeah.
So that was our first segment of This or That, and we're gonna bring this back every so often.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's a cool idea to see how we think.
Hopefully we made you, the listener, think as well.
We can't help but thank you for listening and tuning in. And since you're tuning in, why don't you stop by our Facebook? Check us out. Maybe become part of the American Slackers group. And also, don't forget to stop by the Instagram where you can check out every promo for every show. And if you wanted to check out the main hub, the American Slacker website is aspodcast.com or American Slacker Podcast, whatever you prefer.
You can also find us on Twitter and Reddit at AMERSLKR Podcast. Please rate and review us on iTunes. 5 stars or nothing. And please also tell a friend about the show. That's the best way to get us out there and get people listening.
If you wanted to get in contact with us, send us an email at americanslackerpodcast.gmail.com. And if you wanted to jam out to some of the music, some of the artists that we've had on the show, check out American Slacker Podcast playlist by searching American Slacker Podcast. It's easy. Just do it.
Super
Check
easy.
it out. Jam out.
Another thing you can do is head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/American Slacker Podcast. You will find a whole bunch of rewards that we give out, including the shout-outs at the beginning of the show and more stuff that we've been offering along the lines of bonus content and even more things to come throughout the year. You can also visit our shop, AmericanSlackerPodcast.BigCartel.com, where we have the Simple Slacker t-shirt and the Morning Slacker mug. Those are some things with our logos on them that maybe you'd appreciate having, sipping your coffee out of in the morning as you're listening to our latest episode on Mondays.
Hell yeah. Get them while you can. Designs will change soon enough. And if you wanted to check us out on the personal level, check out our Instagram, Snapchats, and gamer tags. You can find me on Instagram at MWGmedia, and my Snapchat and gamer tag are MattyG from HP.
You can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Xbox Live at Landers the Plane.
Oh yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in on the live stream, on iTunes, on Podcast Addict, whatever you might be listening to us on.
Find us hiding.
Hell yeah, we love every one of you, and we appreciate the support. And until next time, that's it.
There you go.